Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our new show. It's called Pathways to Knowledge. We're attempting to bring you information that will help you understand the true knowledge of the miracles God's provided everyone in their everyday lives. Tonight's going to be very special. We're going to be channeling the spirit of President Jack Kennedy. He's been on several of our shows before. He was on Channeling History, and we've had some great shows with him. We're going to discuss many subjects, including his assassination, his presence in heaven, and his opinion about some current events. Now, we'll be bringing you this show at 6 p.m. Pacific time or 9 p.m. Eastern time every Friday night. This is the same time as Connie and I brought you our Hello Heaven show. All of our past shows, Hello Heaven, Channeling History, a Sunday sermon, weekly message from Jesus, and many of the other shows that we did will remain on our YouTube channel. You can hear the audios on podbeam.com, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and most of the popular internet platforms. Now, in total, we've got almost 1,000 videos available on our YouTube channel. These videos contain an incredible amount of information. In addition, I've published 11 books that include aliens among us, conspiracies. I have a book called Spirits Speak of Conspiracies and Mysteries, and we actually have a chapter in it devoted to the Kennedy assassination. I have a book with conversations with archangels, and my latest book, Jesus, the Missing Years, brings you information about the 33 years that are not covered in the life of Jesus in the Bible or the Gospels. Now, the main thing that I've learned through all this is the more that I know, the more that I think I know, and the more that I don't know. So there's a huge difference between knowing facts and converting those facts to knowledge. Now, our goal with this new show is to use our channeled information to obtain true knowledge for all of you that are listening. Our goal tonight in channeling President Kennedy is to give you insight into the evil within our government that existed in the past and in all probability probably exists today. Now, as we explained last week, Connie's eyesight has diminished to a point where she cannot see well enough to read the questions. So tonight, our friend Elena is back with us, and she is going to answer the questions. So, hi, Elena.
Hey, Barry, how are you?
Well, for an old guy, I'm still here and trying to do what we want to do, see what happens.
I'm really excited that we're going to talk with Jack Kennedy today.
He's very special. He's a very, very special person and an extremely special spirit. We've talked to him. I was surprised just how down to earth he is. And he even told Connie he could call him Jack. So anyway, let's get started and see what he has to say for us tonight.
Is he here now?
Of course.
Mr. President, it is truly an honor to be in your presence.
Thank you, Elena. I'm glad that you are here. I'm glad that you're helping. I've heard that you have been with the Stromes for many years, and we're looking forward to seeing the active role that you're going to play from over here. We know you've been sent back to do things, and it's good to see that you're starting on them.
Thank you. But I am so honored that you are here. Even though I was only 4 years old when you were assassinated, you are by far my favorite president.
Well, thank you. And I'm very happy that you're here. As I say, you've been a very accomplished person in your life, and I know this is unusual and that you're going to enjoy it.
So let's get to the first question. Now that you're on the other side, what type of information can you access?
You'd actually be very amazed. Everyone tells you there's no way you can describe heaven. And when you're in the upper levels, and I am blessed to be in the upper level, it's amazing what you truly can do. You can see the past. You can actually go back and relive events and see what took place. You can get a glimpse of the future, But you have to realize that the future is based on the events and decisions that are made at that time. There are different, if certain decisions change, then the future will change. So even though you see you can get a glimpse of the future, you never really know how accurate it is. But we know when people think about us. I knew immediately when Barry wanted to have me on the show again. So I was actually present last week when he was talking that we would about what we would be doing. So it's very different here. That's about the best way I can describe it. And the only way you're ever going to know is when your soul gets here. And you are going to be amazed when you get here as well.
So you can see back in time. Have you watched the assassination as it took place?
It took me a while because when you're here, you have feelings. You have a lot of the same emotions that you have in life. And it was very traumatic for me, as you can imagine. The last thing I thought was that they would actually go through with it. I was warned. I was told, really, I was told that I shouldn't ride in an open car. But I always considered myself a brave person, and I've thought that good would win out over bad. So I made a stupid decision. I should have protected myself more, but they would have found another way to do it. I mean, when the network that was involved is basically, it was unstoppable. If they truly make up their mind, they will carry out an act. But yes, I do go back and I watch from different angles, and I'm very saddened by it because it just shows just how much evil can accomplish if they put their mind to it. And I was shocked by how many people were truly involved.
Why do you think it's important for people to know the truth about your assassination?
I don't think that people truly understand how much evil is in our current government and was in my government. I never realized in life, or I certainly wouldn't have taken the chances that I took. People are being lied to all the time. I think most that listen to the news understand that and realize that many of the words that are being spoken to them are lies. But there's so much secrecy in the government. You have the secret agencies, the Secret Service, which is aptly named. You have the CIA, and you have groups in the military that people don't even know exist. So there's so many things that are taking place in the world that people have no idea. I think if they truly know the truth of my assassination, they're going to be shocked, and they're going to understand the depth of just how much they are being lied to. The government lied to them since the time of my assassination. And there are still facts, even though they're saying that everything is being disclosed. But there's so much that hasn't been. Have you seen the original pictures, photographs that were taken afterwards?
Yes.
Just to name a few things that exist. You know that they did a complete autopsy. Are the autopsy photographs available? No. So there are photographs that they call the ones, but you have no idea of knowing what is true and what is false. So that is one reason why I thought I would try to clarify as much as I can.
So that leads us into our next question. Are you satisfied with the information about your assassination that's been supplied by the government?
No. There's more. There's much more that should come out. I mean, they know who was responsible for it. There's no doubt. They should come out and say it, but they're not about to come out and accuse a president of the United States for being behind an assassination. So there's a lot of things that haven't come out yet. So I'm pleased at what has come out, but a lot of it's been distorted, and we're still waiting for the total truth.
Do you think President Trump will ever release all of the information that he has?
He's trying. I will give him credit for that. But he's being lied to as well. He doesn't know what exists and what is right and what is wrong and all the information. He was obviously alive when it took place, but he only gets the information that he is told. So he's doing the best he can in certain areas, but no, I don't think he'll even be successful in accomplishing this act. There's a lot of very important people that don't want this information out yet.
There have been many theories as to why you were assassinated. Why do you think you were assassinated?
Well, I know why I was assassinated. Lyndon wanted to be president. It was that easy. I had made many enemies, so he had no problem in finding people that would get involved and carry out the act. But I told him that he was not going to be on the ticket second term. It infuriated him. He knew that was basically his only chance to be president of the United States, and it was something that he wanted dearly. So it's no secret. I know exactly who was behind it.
Well, then who gave the order to have you killed, and who financed the operation?
In those days, there were many, many ways to raise illegal money. Our black ops were doing many things. I don't want to go into detail of it, but they were raising money in different ways. Lyndon was in charge. He had many criminal connections from his past. He knew mafia people. They had actually helped him do many things in Texas to getting elected to the other office he had. So money was available. It was no problem. The mob was willing to put money up for it. They disliked me. I was going to end the war in Vietnam. There were many, many people did not want that war to end because it was so profitable for them. So there were many people that were willing to contribute funds to what was put together. But the reality is, it wasn't really that expensive an operation. They used inside people for it, and it didn't really cost that much. Now, the aftermath took a lot of money for cover-up, but the people that were involved obviously did not want the truth to come out, so they were willing to spend whatever it took. And the mob had access to great funds, so it was actually no problem for them.
So who were the actual shooters, and where were they located when the fatal shots were fired?
Well, there were actually 5 people that were available to shoot. There was a shooter on the roof of the book depository. If you notice, the room that so-called Oswald was in was next to the roof. So they wanted to assure that the angle of the shot would be the same, which the shooter from the roof, his name was Sturgis, and he fired from that location, and the angle appeared as though it came from the depository. There was a second shot, and it came from the vicinity of the culvert and the grassy knoll. But there were other backup shooters. If they had missed, the backup shooters would have fired as well. So they were in multiple places. They were not taking chances. There was no way I was going to come out of that ride in Dallas alive.
Why was Lee Harvey Oswald chosen to be the scapegoat for your murder?
He was chosen because he was very susceptible. He had been in Russia. He had heard a lot of bad things about me, and they could use him to set him up. They had propagandized him. They had worked on him for years to get him into this position. And he was actually the ideal person to blame for this. They were going to kill him immediately. So he was set up. Officer Tippett was supposed to kill him when he left the building. Tippett got cold feet, and that's why they killed Tippett after the event took place. He was supposed to kill Oswald. Oswald was not supposed to make it alive outside of that building. When they captured Oswald, the plan was starting to fall apart. So they had to take care not only of Oswald, but they had to take care of Officer Tippit, because now they had someone that had gotten cold feet and they feared that he would talk. So all of a sudden, this chain of events starts to take place. They tell Ruby that if he does not do this, they were going to kill his family. So Ruby steps up and kills Oswald. And then Ruby goes to prison for it. And I think he knew that his life was probably going to be very short. A side effect, there was a newspaper reporter named Dorothy Kilgallen. She went in and interviewed Ruby, and he told her the truth. Therefore, Kilgallen winds up being killed as part of to keep the plot quiet. Then Ruby is given cancer and he dies in jail. So there were many people that were killed as a side effect of my assassination.
So you answered my next question, so I'm going to insert another one. Who killed Tippit?
The mob, because they knew right away that Tippit was in on this, and he was supposed to receive payment from the mob. So they stepped in and immediately killed Tippit because they knew he was a weak link.
So why was Dallas chosen as the city where the assassination took place?
Because it was an ideal location. They had many areas that they could hide shooters. They knew that the automobile would be driving relatively slow as it came around that turn at the book depository. So it would be a relatively easy shot from the building. They knew that they could control the security. There were certain members of Secret Service had no idea what was taking place. But there were many places that the shooters could hide. It was well thought out, but it was the ideal location.
So were any of the members of the Secret Service involved? And if so, who?
There were none actively involved, but there were members of the Secret Service that knew something was going to happen.
Was Clint Hill, who was Jackie's assigned Secret Service agent, involved in the plan at all?
He was aware that something was going to happen, but he was not actively involved.
Do you think there are any Secret Service agents today who would carry out an assassination of President Trump?
It's always a distinct possibility. I never thought that the people that were involved would carry out my assassination. It's always a matter of money, Helena. If you pay a person enough money, many of these people have backgrounds, secret backgrounds. Many of them can be very violent people. I mean, it's part of the job to protect the president. You must be able to be a violent person, actually. So who knows? I mean, they're well chosen. And in actuality, no one that was really close to me was involved. They went to members of the CIA to get the shooters. So the ones that actually carried it out were not close to me.
Do you think President Trump will finish his term? And if not, why?
I think that the president probably has health problems from what we see over here. He is a workaholic, and he is getting up in age as well. He drives himself to the point that I think that he could destroy his health in this job. I do not believe that anyone will successfully carry out an assassination. There have been multiple attempts so far, but they have not been successful. and the security that surrounds him at this time is very, very heavy. There's always a possibility that some fool will be able to carry it out. It is always possible that another country can do it. He has made great enemies in Iran. He has destroyed their leadership, essentially, and he is going to be doing much more in order to protect the other countries of the Middle East. So it is very possible that if there's military action in Iran, that it will trigger some people that will try to take President Trump's life. He is well aware of the situation. And there are individuals that appear in public that are not the president. So it will be very difficult to carry out an assassination against the current president. And I think that the measures that are being taken will be effective to protect him.
Are all three of your brothers, Joe, Bobby, and Ted, with you on your level? And if not, what level are they on?
They're all over here. I'm on a level above them, but they're in probably what you refer to as the 5th and 6th levels.
Do you have any contact with your father?
I have gone down to see him. My father was not a good person, and he had a very difficult judgment when he returned for many of the things that he did. So he is in a lower level. I have the ability to go down and see him. He does not have the ability to come up and visit with us. But I have seen him, but I do not, shall we say, hang out with him.
Did your father, Joseph P. Kennedy, force your sister Rosemary to have a lobotomy? And if so, why did he do it? And how did you feel about it?
She had brain surgery. She had a brain tumor. And there was a lot of side effects from it. There were many people that hated my father. And the effects of the surgery were very difficult. He had a lot of people that told a lot of lies about him. So I do not think that you could call it a lobotomy, but it was a very difficult surgery.
Was your son, John's death an accident?
No, absolutely not. He was threatening to reopen my investigation. And the people did not want the investigation reopened, obviously. So it was very easy for them to sabotage his airplane.
So you answered that question. It wasn't an accident. It was intentional. Who ordered his death?
After Johnson died, the organization still existed. The individuals that were involved in the shootings, they had grown in power, and the mob was still very active and did not want to be associated with my assassination. So it was essentially the same group of players, but without the leader, because he was no longer alive.
Many have spoken of the Kennedy curse with the loss of your brother Joe, your assassination, as well as Bobby's, and the early death of JFK Jr. How do you feel about your only grandson and namesake, Jack Bouvier Kennedy Schlossberg, running for Representative Jerry Nadler's House seat?
I have very mixed emotions about it. The Kennedys have not been active politically now for quite a few years, but the name is famous, and there are still people that perhaps would not want Kennedys involved in politics. He has got some policies that I would consider a bit extreme. he has a very deep dislike of his cousin. I have no control over what my grandson does. If he chooses, and I'm sure now that he probably will choose to run, that is his decision. I would prefer that he remain safe, and depending on his political ambitions, I certainly can't guarantee it from over here.
So, how do you feel about your nephew, Robert Kennedy Jr., being an important and integral part of Trump's cabinet?
I actually think it's a very good thing. You do not see much cooperation between Democrats and Republicans today. He has very, very, shall we say, extreme ideas about health, welfare of the people. But in many instances, he is correct. And I am actually quite delighted that President Trump has given him a chance to try to improve the health of Americans. He has some things that he's not correct in, but he is definitely trying to follow his heart, and he is doing his best. He is far from perfect, but I'm actually very happy that he is getting cooperation from the administration.
Your granddaughter, Tatiana Schlossberg, recently passed away from leukemia. Were you there to greet her when she passed over?
Absolutely. We saw it coming. We knew that she had a very grave illness, and we also knew that she had a short life plan. So we were well prepared for her arrival, and we were there for her.
When you say we, who else was there waiting for her?
All of the family members, Jackie, Ted, Bobby, we were all there for her.
Do you ever see the two children that Jackie miscarried?
Yes, actually we do.
Patrick, and I don't remember the other one's name.
Yes, their souls are here with us, and we do, shall we say, hang out with them, and we get to know them. It was part of our learning experience. That was their short life plans, and we had to learn to handle the grief. And that was really the reason why they had such a short plan.
Do you think that if you were alive today, you would be considered a conservative?
That's a difficult question. My family has always been associated with the Democratic Party. Our party was very, very different from a lot of the beliefs that we see today in the Democratic Party. There are many things going on and many policies that I feel are terribly radical and would hurt the citizenry of the United States. So there are many, many people that are in the party that I could not support at this time. I'm not sure how that would affect me if I was in politics today. You need a strong party affiliation to ever become president. And it's a very, very difficult question for me to answer. I am much more conservative than many of the members of the Democratic Party today. I'm very, very upset at the lack of cooperation between the two parties. I tried to do what I thought was best for the people. It wound up with a big problem when I was in Dallas. Today, the parties are like two warring factions, and what is best for the people seems to be the least regard for them. So I really can't say how I would react, but I do know that I would be at odds with many members of my party today.
As president, what do you consider your greatest achievement?
I was working on many things. If I had been able to end the Vietnam War, that would have been my greatest achievement. But after my assassination, there was a great coming together of the American people. And in spite of the successes that I had, and I had several, I also had several failures. But I think that the result of my assassination and the bringing together the people at the time might have been my greatest accomplishment.
What country or countries do you consider the greatest risk to the United States today?
Russia, obviously, because they have all the nuclear weapons and they have a real nutcake in charge. Iran is extremely dangerous because they would use a nuclear weapon as a religious tool. I think that those two countries in the short term are probably the most dangerous. In the long term, I would have to pick China because Russian economics the country will fail. There's no way that Russia can recover from 4 years of total war like this. Their economy's in shatters. They're a pariah in Europe. So there's going to be long-term problems for Russia that will weaken them extensively. China is growing stronger. And the control that China has over the people is very, very strong. So with the funds that they have available, the great wealth of China, and with them attempting to build the strong military, with the designs that they have on Taiwan, I would say that China is the most dangerous long-term country.
Do you have any suggestions on how to unite the people of the United States and stop all this divisiveness?
Hatred begets hatred. If everyone would simply follow God's orders, you continuously hear him say, don't do anything to others you do not want done to yourself. If the politicians would put them in that position, if the country and the individuals in the country would teach the young more about God. One thing that I do not like that I'm seeing in my party is that people of more liberal bends are trying to take God away from the institutions. I firmly believed in God. I did many things that were not right, that I should not have done, but I always had great faith in God. Today, you're seeing people that profess a faith in God, but walk so far from his light that you do not even recognize it. Until people truly understand the power of God, the power of his words, and try to live by his words, it's going to be very, very difficult. The Jews hate the Muslims hate the Jews. Even within the Islamic faith, you see the Shia at odds with their other brothers. Hatred among countries is so extreme. What Russia has done to the Ukraine, they will be hated for generations. When a country establishes patterns of hatred and not helping, then those hatreds carry on for generations. So it is very, very difficult. I have seen how the people can be drawn together. I saw it after my assassination. I do not want there to be an assassination in this country. It be the only thing that draws people together. They came together after 9/11. I do not want to see another 9/11 that harms all of the people. So it seems like it is only great tragedy that truly brings people together. During World War II, the people all came together. It is sad that they cannot do it under peaceful circumstances. I guess the greatest problem is the desire for power and wealth that so many people have today. They see individuals of incredible wealth, And they want to try to emulate that, and many will do whatever is necessary to try to gain that wealth. So until people understand truly that all souls are equal, and they will not, many will never know that until they come to heaven, because in heaven all souls are truly equal. But until politicians are elected by the people that understand helping the people, and I see it throughout our country where individuals are elected time after time, and they continuously do the same thing to harm the people that elect them. The electorate must understand who will help them and who won't. That is the great challenge of a democracy. And until the voters truly put in people that will help, I believe in my heart that term limits would be a good thing, because I see as representatives serve longer and longer times, they become more dedicated to personal power and wealth. So perhaps shorter periods of service would be a great help for the country. The young have got to be educated to understand what God wants of them. When that happens in several generations, things will make a radical change.
Can you see the future and tell us what the United States will be like in 100 years?
There are multiple futures for the United States, depending on decisions that are made. If another country uses a weapon of mass destruction on the United States, that will change everything, because the United States will destroy that country. And then that will set off a great conflagration that could wipe out all human life. I will answer your question this way. If humans decide that they will follow God's teachings, it will be a magnificent country in 100 years. If they do not, then free will determine what will take place, and it may be very ugly.
Do you have a special message or a final message for our audience?
Yes, I would like to thank all of you that listen to my words. I would like to thank all of you that try to seek the truth. I would like to thank all of you that live in God's light. Everyone must try to live a good life. Everyone must try to follow the words that Jesus has spoke when he walked the earth. Everyone must just simply try to live a good life and live in his light. If you have excess funds, then help others with them. I'm not saying that you should put yourself in poverty helping others. You deserve the benefits of your hard work in your life. But you must learn to help others. There are so many people in need, and the government must understand the needs of the people. Study well your politicians that you vote for. If an individual has been in service for a long period of time and the people are suffering under him, don't reelect them. Put in fresh people. Listen to what they say and try to determine whether they're speaking the truth. Live a good life yourself. Each person that you help will in all probability help another person. It is only through love and helping others that true existence can be guaranteed into the future. So thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Thank you for allowing me to come through. And as always, I thoroughly enjoy being here. So, goodbye. And if you ask, I will surely return again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. That was really good. You're getting into this, aren't you?
Oh gosh, yes.
You're like a child with a new toy.
Oh, yes.
Well, whatever happened to President Kennedy, that was pure evil. Perhaps if enough people know the truth, then we can do a better job of wiping it out. Violence is never the answer. And President Kenny, thank you so much for being here. Eleanor, you want to thank the president? You were talking to him before the show.
I just want to thank you again for coming here and answering our questions. And I do hope that you come again because I have plenty more.
Oh, my God. Tell me about it. All right, Ellen. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep, and we will talk to you next week. Okay. That was a very, very good show.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a huge number of legal decisions coming from the Supreme Court. So next week, we are going to channel the spirits of Ruth Ginsburg and Anthony Scalia. They're two great justices. They've been on our show before. We've had them on Channeling History several times. You can go back and actually listen to them. But I want to hear what they have to say about what's taking place. I think that, to say the least, it'll be very, very interesting next week. All of our shows are streamed on YouTube as well as my personal Facebook page. They're in our Facebook groups. Our most active Facebook group is Words of God Then and Now. Our live videos are broadcast there. As I said earlier, you can hear audios of our shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Alexa, and many other platforms. Tell other people about our shows. The more people we reach, the better chance of our channelings making a real difference. So please join us each Friday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Time when we bring you Pathways to Knowledge. Many individuals can quote facts, but very few have true knowledge. If you join in with us, hopefully the facts that we give you are going to lead to that knowledge. So join us again next week. Thank you so much for listening. Keep Connie and I in your prayers. Keep Elena in your prayers. We all need it, just as we pray for you as well. So goodbye, and thank you so much for listening.